Hello, everyone, and welcome to the same old Chronicles of Lee Judge's TV with Albert J and Potsy P. Here we are. I'm the host for a special occasion. Our nomadic life comes to an end this week as we've been travelling around the Chronicles channel, Lee's channel, name above the door and all that. Evening, Gov. We're going to move back to the same old Arsenal you may or may not have heard. So yes, travels end, but let's get down into it and welcome the host, Lee, name above the door. How are you, me old mucker?
Oh, I'm good, thank you very much, Mark. And when you come up with this idea, I thought, well, what might give you a nice Christmas present? Give you this, and I thought it was a fantastic idea. And I'm looking forward to your hosting skills.
You're regretting it already. Let's have it right.
No, not at all. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. I'm glad. Well, look, it's a bit of fun. It's the last time before we go back to our spiritual home, the bosom of where we all rightfully belong. We thought we'd have some fun with it. Albert, how are you, me old mucker?
Keeping well, mate. I'm in esteemed company as usual. So this is very nice, very festive.
Good.
You've got jumper on and all like that. I mean, and when you say that the bosom of back into the bosom, I've seen Craig lately, and I think you're right. You know what I mean? Like he's got a pair of boots.
Can't start laying into him yet. We haven't even got back through the door yet. Do you know what I mean? He might change his mind again. Go easy.
I've just sent him off a Secret Santa, like and a D-cup bra, like you know what I mean. I was just saying.
Popsy, bro, what's happening?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. And I'm glad you're hosting tonight because it's a good laugh. And it's always great that you're going to have to try and host and then try and eat some cheese at the same time. It's going to be fun.
I've got an admission to make, right? One, cheese will always come first, but I ain't got any. I've gone with the flumps instead.
How old are you? 9?
It's festive, isn't it? It's festive, isn't it? Flumps. Don't you think? Don't you think? Hot chocolate, all that.
Toasted on the fire.
Eggnog. Oh, shit. No, I'm not supposed to be eating. Sorry. Anyway, where was we? So, Lee. No, let's not go to Lee. Otherwise, he'll just waffle on and no one else will get a chat. No, let's go to Albie. Albie, tell me your thoughts, man. Before the game. Before the game, man, we're all looking forward to the game. And then the news rumbles around that someone's missing. What you thinking, man? Uber's not left out.
You know what it was, Mark? Because I had a bit of a mad rush work commitment to actually get to the game. So I actually didn't actually check my phone until I got in the ground. And so we had the same team as against Everton. I thought, okay, you know what? People are going to grumble about that, but they've got a chance to redeem themselves after such a woeful performance at Goodison Park. But when I saw the actual squad, I thought to them, something's not right here. It's only the guy sitting next to it at the Emirates said to me, Aubameyang's out because of a disciplinary breach. I just shook my head, Mark, mate. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, well, just to clarify, what we've heard the reports are, but we don't know how true it is, but what they're saying is that he's been given extended leave, had permission to go see family. He's been given an inch and he's took a mile. He's come back late. So that's just to clarify what we think has happened.
Mm. But yeah, sort of in regards to the game, after sort of hearing that initial news about Aubameyang, I wasn't sure, Mark. I thought we'd sneak the game personally. I know Southampton have got a plethora of injury worries, but you actually wouldn't have thought that after watching the first 25 minutes, because Southampton must have thought to themselves, we've been completely sucker punched here. How are we 2-0 down after 25 minutes after the start that we had? We looked out of sorts. We didn't start well. The loose passing. The problem is, Mark, for me, in my opinion, anyway, with Arsenal, whether at home or away, we don't generally really start that well. And the problem is, you can not start well, but still end up going 1 or 2 goals up. But it gives you a bit of a buffer. But we don't set the tone very well in our games when we start within the first 15, 20 minutes. And when we don't score within that period, it's a bit of a struggle. But, you know, the one bit of quality, and it was a fantastic bit of quality to the first goal, was it's fine margins, Mark. You know, you can go from Ramsdale almost losing the ball to going 1-0 down to the sublime one touch, two touch football to see an absolute masterpiece of a goal. It was brilliant. Definitely against the run of play, but we sort of, like I said, we sucker punch Southampton, really.
Yeah, man. Dan, you see the team sheet, you're thinking, we hear it's a disciplinary, and we start the 20 minutes the way we do. You know, what's the feeling in the ground? What are you guys thinking sitting there? Couldn't have been good.
Well, listen, it's off the back of a horrendous performance, mate, against Everton. And then you start the 20 minutes like that and you think, wow, they've not even woken up. Like, I think we must have looked at each other, everybody in the ground, players included, and thought, how the hell are we winning this game? Because we ain't played well. But when you look at the actual goal that we scored, first of all, that apparently, from what I'm being told, epitomises what Mikel Arteta wants to see at Arsenal. So I've been crying out to someone to tell me what style of play are we looking at doing, what's his philosophy. That goal was sensational. It's only taken 2 years, by the way, but we finally scored a goal that Mikel Arteta is proud of.
Well,
so
some things are worth waiting for.
Absolutely. Ramsdale deserves a lot of credit in that game, if I'm honest. His distribution was outstanding. But he actually did put everybody under a little bit of pressure in the stadium by keeping on to that ball for so long. It was like, get rid. And then obviously the one touch from playing out from the back was beautiful to watch. And then the play down that right-hand side, that link-up play between Tomiyasu and Saka was something that I was really impressed with. I thought Saka has come to a lot of criticism in the last few games, but those two players were definitely on it that game. And I thought that the ball across to Lacazette was great to see because he's not really been a goal-scoring centre-forward for us, Lacazette, this season. So I was really pleased with that first goal, and it was good for me to see Martin Ødegaard getting back on the score sheet because I've been very hard on him. I don't believe that he is someone that has been such an overwhelming signing for us. And you see him scoring now, what's that, 3 in 3? That's really impressive considering he got 4 in 40 in the last for Arsenal last season and this season. So for me to get 3 in 3, he's proving why Arteta should be keeping him in the side. And I'm still not a huge fan of some of the stuff that he does. I think he's a very nice footballer at times and he keeps onto the ball well. I just want to see a little bit more from him. And when he's scoring, you know, he's pleasing me and other Arsenal fans. So it's great to see him proving people wrong, just like Aaron Ramsdale did, to be fair, has done for every single fan. So there was a few individual performances, Mark, that really impressed me, if I'm honest with you. And you know, everybody knows I'm not a huge fan of the manager, but I don't see why we have to always say how great Arteta is when we get 3 points. Sometimes the players do their job as well, because trust me, they get slated enough when we lose, so they must be credited when we win games. So I'm going to credit the players, and I'm going to credit quite a few of them. Individually, I thought there was some great performances. I thought all of our back five was great. I've been massively impressed with Gabriel this season, and I think he's player of the season. Ben White had another good game. I know that he was poor against Everton. I didn't think he was great against Manchester United, but it seems that he can't really be very consistent at the moment. But when Ben White's good, he's really good, and I thought he was great on Saturday. Tomiyasu's solid. Kieran Tierney's had 2 games now against Everton and Southampton where he's looked really good and back to his usual self, so I hope that continues. And obviously we've got the forward players at the moment, like Saka that I've mentioned, Ødegaard, and for me, man of the match, Martinelli. So for me, it was the individual performances I'm loving, and I'm loving the fact that Martinelli's taken this chance now. It's really great to see. So I was really pleased with it, mate, and you know, I wasn't expecting 3 points going into this game because of how poor we were against Manchester United and Everton. So it was pleasing for me to see the 3 points, but let's be honest, it's a standard win against a team that, let's be honest, weren't exactly superb. So let's not get too excited because we have been here before, mate.
We have. Lee, let's talk about Arteta. Let's talk about, he makes the decision. Is it a bold decision or is it a decision he can't not make, leaving Aubameyang out? And the other decision is sticking with Tierney. He's making some brave decisions, and Dan says we shouldn't credit him. But he is kind of unrelenting in the way he's going about his job. There's some consistency. So what are you making of Arteta from the game versus Southampton?
Listen, I know what Dan's saying about credit because like Dan gets annoyed when Arsenal play really well, it's all the players, and then when they lose, it's the manager. It's not the manager. It's always the players, you know. So when they win, it's Arteta, sorry, and when they lose, it's the players, which is not the case in my mind. I think look, first and foremost, let's talk about Aubameyang. I don't think he's left with any choice. You know, you give him a couple of days off. It's like anybody. If he doesn't turn up, you know, what can you do? You know, he's a captain of the club, got to lead by example. I feel that, you know, he's got to be disciplined for it. I wouldn't like hang him out to dry over it though.
No.
And
What would you do then, Lee? What would you do? Would you do the same as what Arteta's done?
100%.
So what about the captaincy?
I think that's an issue at the moment now. That I think that if Mikel wants to be big and strong, he can actually say, right, this is the time to change the captain. If you don't really fancy him as captain, this is the time to do it.
Do you believe it is the time to do it in the middle of a season? Do you believe it's the time? You know,
I wouldn't do nothing at this time. I wouldn't do nothing at this moment of time, and I'll tell you why. Because he's not inside at the moment. So I think you can like hang fire on it. Just like hang fire on it at the moment. Just see what happens. You know, and sometimes there can be a changing of the guard. Listen, I remember Kenny Sansom was captain of Arsenal, doing a better job than Aubameyang, and was a class player as well. But a couple of little breaches, and George Graham see the little window of opportunity, should I say, to give Tony Adams it, and the rest is history. So there may be that at this moment in time, I don't think he has to do anything. So because I don't believe it'd be in the side. You know, I think that he'll be on the bench come Wednesday, and rightly so. Like, you know, I'm sorry, I don't see why people are trying to stick up for Aubameyang. He's wrong. He's wrong. Whether you like him or not, he is wrong. If you're giving 2 days off, realistically, you shouldn't be really giving 2 days off. You know, obviously the players have got 2 days off. You can do what you want. Not so much now because of what's gone on with the pandemic. But he's done. Why has he got to have 3 days? I think it's, you know, I'm sorry. Listen, there's always been issues, Mark, of people being late. You know, Ian Wright was always late at one stage. You know, the famous story with Arsene Wenger. When they said, right, you know, you've got to stop this Arsene, like, you know, he keeps coming in at 10:30 and training starts at 10.
The difference is, Lee, he was doing it on the pitch, wasn't he?
Well, he was, but you know, Arsene Wenger put up on the sheet. He said from now on, training start at 10:30. That was his thing, like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, just fit it round him, yeah. But that's the thing, isn't it? The club. This is what I'm saying, is that if a player, you're going to get prima donnas. Raw talent has to be managed, and it has to be not pandered to, but it has to be accommodated. If you are great and making a huge contribution, you've got to fit around it. But he's not, is he? He's not being great on the pitch.
Listen, it doesn't matter what, even in that light, you know what I mean? When that happened with Arsene Wenger, Ian Wright and all the players turned around and said, no, Arsene, you know what I mean? We start at 10 o'clock. You make sure he's in. And what happened was the players had him up on it. So, look, Ian, you know what I mean? Like, you're a great player, blah, 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 but you've got to be here on time. It's part of being a footballer.
You know what I mean? Fuming. They were missing out on all the late fines for the Christmas dooley.
Whatever, like, you know what I mean? I think that, you know, one I think is you've got to, I think you've got a duty to yourself to be professional at that, but also to your teammates. You know what I mean? Like, and if you've got young players in the side that are impressionable, and we have got young players in the side, you know, we want to be giving them the right standards, and that means being on time. I'm sorry, like, you know what I mean? Look, listen, I'm going to say this now. When people turn around and say, "Oh, he's hung him out for dry," this is not the first time. There's been a couple of times when this has gone under the radar, like, and they've let him off and whatever, like, you know what I mean? It's come to a head. And at the end of the day, it's not acceptable. In my mind, it's not acceptable. Not just because he's a captain of the club as well. Any player that continues to keep turning up late, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable in our jobs, and it shouldn't be expected in their jobs.
No,
every now and then it can happen. And I get that. I get that. You know, I mean, I've gone to work today. I've gone round the corner and there's 15 horses being put into a gate. It made me late. You know what I mean? Like, but at the end of the day, it's a one-off. I can't go in the next day and say, "Oh, the bloody horses were there again," because eventually someone's going to say, "Well, get there before the bloody horses go into the gate." So that's how it is. But
It is, mate. It is. It is.
And
He's
Let's
quit,
say,
he's quit his
let's
job
say-
at he's quit his job at Ascot now, Lee Judges.
yeah,
yeah. Bloody
Listen,
horses kept getting in the way.
I'm going to give Arteta a little bit of credit because I think it was a bold decision what he done on
Yeah.
Saturday, by the way, with the team selection, keeping the same team that was crap
Yes.
on Monday night. And by the way, I watched Everton yesterday against Crystal Palace. How we lost to that team there is absolutely
Yeah.
Makes it even more embarrassing. Albert, let's come to you. Let's come to you. One final thing on this Aubameyang, and then we'll move things along. Get back to the football. Let's say in a hypothetical world, and someone's asked in the comments, and I missed your name, and I apologise. If we decide that he's stripped and he's no good to the club, he's a bad egg around the place, what would it take to get him out of our club in January? By that I mean, if Newcastle need a scorer to keep them up, how much would you sell him for?
Well, I've seen people throw around about 20, 30 million. I don't think that's going to happen. But you know what it is? With the Aubameyang thing, I was quite surprised by the reaction of some Arsenal fans saying Arteta threw him under the bus. I was very surprised by the reaction, if I'm being honest with you. And I think it is. I think people have made up their minds about Arteta being the manager of Arsenal. That's part of the problem because he even got pelters last season for leaving him on the bench in the North London derby. But I actually agreed with Arteta. I think he was right to do that. And I think he was right again. You can't have a player.
Sorry, Alf, we're not laughing at you, Alf. It's the comment. Someone's just digged out leave for being late. Hypocritical.
I saw that comment. I did see that.
Carry on, Alf.
But no, the thing is, if you take the captaincy off him, that's just going to speed up the process of him being moved on because longer term we need to think about who we're going to bring in. But that's up to the Arsenal hierarchy. But yeah, I was very surprised by the reaction of some Arsenal fans. Listen, I'm not Arteta's biggest fan, if people heard me speak about him, but on this occasion, he was right. I don't see how he's in the wrong. And the thing is, if he really wanted to throw him under the bus, he could have come out and said the exact reason as to why he's not in the squad. Why should he lie to cover up Aubameyang's misgivings? And the thing is, more than likely, there's probably been more than 2 occasions this has happened.
This is only what we've heard about it. I have to agree. Albie, lastly, if he's not the captain, who is the captain? Long term, going forward, have we got a long term captain in that squad? And if so, quickly, who is it?
Absolutely. Captain Gabriel, Vice Captain Tierney.
Dan?
Well, I'll give it to Kieran Tierney because I think he epitomises everything we need at Arsenal right now in terms of his leadership skills, his mentality.
One game on, one game off.
That's the only problem with Kieran Tierney. No, it's a serious one. That is a serious reason as to why he won't be given it because of his injury, kind of injury-prone player, isn't he? Let's be honest. But I would give it to him. I'd strip it of Aubameyang now. I've had enough of this. This is another. What's this? Not even a year since the North London derby, and it's 2 disciplinaries now. I don't know what the truth is about it, whether he's gone and got a tattoo and made himself late. I don't care what the reason is. He was late again and therefore doesn't need to be in this team currently and playing as the captain of this side. I'd strip him of the captaincy. Granit Xhaka doesn't deserve to be the captain. Lacazette is not here for long-term future. Yeah. And Aubameyang has got ridiculous discipline issues. There is problems with him in the last few years, and people can stick up for him because of how much he saved us and credit in the bank over the last years. I don't care about what he's done on the pitch. I care about his mentality. He's never been a leader. He's never been a captain. And as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't deserve to have the armband. I look at how important captains are, and I'm old school, and I think they're very, very important. Some people don't care anymore. Look around the top clubs at the moment. Chelsea have got Cesar Azpilicueta. Liverpool got Jordan Henderson. Nothing like Steven Gerrard and John Terry. Maybe it's a little bit harsh on Henderson because I think he's done well, but he's not Steven Gerrard. Then I look at Patrick Vieira and Tony Adams. Who have we had in the last few years? Lauren Koscielny, Granit Xhaka, and Aubameyang. It's not the same anymore.
Well, I think it started with William Gallas, Dan, didn't it? That was the beginning of the end.
Well, what's the problem with our captains in the last 10, 20 years? William Gallas cries on the pitch, throws a wobbler. Then it was just give it to your best player. So we had Cesc Fabregas, who's probably the best one we've had in a long time. Van Persie was never a captain. Thierry Henry was never a captain. He was just the best player. Then we started to give it to people that sat on the bench. Thomas Vermaelen had it, couldn't get a game. He was the captain. Mertesacker couldn't get the team. He had it. Arteta, He had it. Couldn't get in the team. They were all lifting the FA Cups after not appearing. Hadn't played for us all season, but they're the captain. What a joke.
List.
I want it to
it's
be
a comical list.
a very comical list. I want it to be a player that is going to be respected and loved by the fans, but more importantly, that team. And I think Kieran Tierney is one of those. There's a few other names people will say. They're all quite young, Mark. You know, the older senior heads in this team like Partey, Aubameyang, Lacazette, I don't think they're the right men. So for me, I pick somebody young who's going to be the future, but somebody who's got a winning mentality. The only one in out the youngsters in Kieran Tierney because of what he's won at Celtic. He's the most decorated player. Everybody loves him. The fans absolutely love him. For me, he's got the leadership and mentality to be a future Arsenal captain. Everyone can see it. Communication on the pitch when they do those player cams, he does not stop talking. So for me, I love the shout from Albert about Gabriel, but for me, I give it to Kieran Tierney.
Absolutely fine. Lee, let's get back to talking football. Two things. First one. Two things. First one, I am going to ask you who you want to be captain because I do care.
Thank you.
It does matter. And then I want to talk to you about Aaron Ramsdale, and Dan's kind of half touched on it there with his mentioning about fans' favourites. How much of a fan's favourite is he turning into? Is he a potential for your captaincy? Who is your captaincy? And let's talk about Ramsdale, not just his shot stopping, but his distribution that Dan touched on is unbelievable. But is he getting a little bit too much action to show off his saving skills? So, what do you think about it? First, start with the captaincy.
Captaincy, Gabriel or Ben White for me. Not Tierney because I just don't know if he's going to be fit enough all the time. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't want to go down that route again. That's the only thing that would probably stop me going for Tierney. Out of the box, Odegaard, because he's captain of Norway, 22 years of age. Not at this moment in time, not ready for it yet, but potentially. There would be the three that I'll go. Ramsdale wouldn't go for it because, do you know what? For all my love of him and the goal, I'm not really ever been a believer that the goalkeeper should be captain. I think maybe it's a bit old school or whatever.
I'm the same with strikers and goalkeepers. I feel they're too far out of the action.
Yeah. I think with strikers, I'm the same. I've never felt we should be a striker. It's always for me centre half, possibly, preferably, if because they can see the game and can lead from there. And if not, then midfield players. But for me. That's what I would go with there. Ramsdale, you spot on what you say about that, Mark. I'm loving what he done. I thought that he was fantastic again with his play on Saturday. But for all that possession and all that dominance that we had over at Southampton, by the first 15 minutes, by the way, he is too busy by far. Too busy by far. He shouldn't be making saves like that all the time. You know what I mean? And they're not just good saves; they're bloody class saves. They're not routine saves. You know, so it's a little bit of a worry for me that we continue letting teams get chances on us. That first 15 minutes, by the way, let's not cover it all up and all that. If that was against a real top team, we would have been 2-0 down because it was sloppy. But I understand we was a little bit nervous and all that, but we've got to cut out all that sort of stuff. As far as I'm concerned, Ramsdale, I'm just loving his. I don't know if you've seen it. You know, when Martinelli was running through, he's clapping his hands, he's pushing him forward and all that. Like when
was it the knee slide the other day? The knee slide down. That was down your end, Dan, wasn't it? He was on the knee slide. That's mental. I love him.
He's
character.
I will say this: what admires me about him a little bit because he's quite. And I thought, right, it's easy doing all that stuff when you're winning. It's easy being like leading all that, but against Man United. Aubameyang walked 10, 15 yards and started going away. He did clap and all that, but it was token gesture. Same with Lacazette. And then he come along and he pushed everybody to go towards the fans. And I admired that. I thought, hold on, he's got a bit about him. Know that we just lost, but he's still prepared to do that, And he must be loving life being an Arsenal player at the moment because the fans. He's won them all over. Now, you have to admire him for that because he wasn't liked at the beginning of the season for whatever reason. I don't know. The only thing that I would have questioned was how much we was paying for him. But some of the criticism that he got, but he just come in there and has just been infectious and won every single fan over. Even the ones that really didn't want him to do well, and there are fans out there, I can say that didn't want him to do well, like, you know, because they've given him a good slagging off, are loving him now. And I just think that's a fantastic attribute to have. And he's a proper leader. I love the way that if things are going, if someone makes a good challenge, he praises them. But if they make a mistake, he's rollicking them, like, do you know what I mean, like, and giving them a piece of his mind. So I'm very, very pleased for him. I think he's been a revelation. I've got to say that. Did I ever think he'd be as good as this? No. But I'm telling you this now. He has got to be close to being England's number one now. He has.
Oh, mate, got to be.
That's a good point.
Albert, I'm going to come on to you. If you finished, Lee?
That's right, done. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'll be back to you in a minute. Just wait there, boss. I'll be back in a minute.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I've lost count of where I am now. Oh, God. I was marking down how many times I've gone to you all. Oh, this has turned into a right. You're A for draw. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That was a shambles, by the way. That was
Jesus Christ.
Right,
we're going to have to start this again. We're going to have to start this again. I've lost where I'm at. I think I've got Lee and Dan in the same pot. Oh, Albert, let's just move on, Albert. Albert, let's just move on. Let's talk about. I want to talk about physical presence. I want to talk about, we're scoring. Gabriel gets nearly got his goal disallowed from the set piece. Gets it in. Eventually gets it from the set piece. Tommy Asu, he's a big lad. Tavares. Now, do you think Arsenal now have got some sort of presence? And secondly, talking of presence, obviously Partey is a part of that group. Is he actually cutting the mustard?
I'll start with in the reverse. So Partey, the short answer to that is no. He's been, from what I've seen since he's come to Arsenal, I've been very, very underwhelmed. And I think there's going to be only so many times as a fan base where we can turn around and say, it's the injuries, because he's had a run of games now, Mark. He's been in the team, he's been prominent, but he's not been great. I don't think he was that great on Saturday. Actually, I don't think him and Xhaka were that great either of them on Saturday, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. But it is a worry. I mean, the thing is, not everybody that comes over to the Premier League, even if you have come with a billing and you've got ability and you've got quality, sometimes it just don't work out in this league, Mark. And from what we've seen so far, if Arsenal fans are honest, we haven't got what we thought we was getting with him. We've seen it in very, very, very short bursts. So that's a concern. That's a concern for me. He's even said it himself, giving himself a 4 out of 10. So if it's one thing saying that, but then go out on the pitch and go and show us that you're gonna bring it. You're gonna be a bit more consistent and not be sloppy and giving the ball away, because it's not good enough for a player of his ability and experience. He needs to be bringing a lot more to the table for Arsenal. In order to help the youngsters in the team, because we can't keep relying on them to be pulling us through and getting the W's and the wins. In regards to sort of the players you mentioned before, what I do like and what I have seen, I've mentioned it before, is a lot of teams look to Arsenal as a soft touch. The likes of Ramsdale and Gabriel bring a bit of balls to the team. They bring a bit of fight. We're not going to be bullied anymore. There's been so many incidents, Mark. I mean, when we played Villa at home, within the first 2 minutes of the game, Gabriel shows Ollie Watkins what it's about. We play Burnley away. Ashley Westwood starts getting a bit excited. Who steps in? Ramsdale and Gabriel. So there's a bit more bite and a bit more character. And that's what this team, from a defensive point of view, most definitely has lacked for a number of years. And I don't know what the boys think and you think, but I don't remember Arsenal having a defensive unit where we can actually turn around and say, you know what? We can hang our hat on them a little bit. We can have a little bit more faith and a bit more confidence. And for me, that stems from the Ramsdale factor at the moment. He's been brilliant. And you make a good point about the England goalkeeper position, because the one thing Pickford had over the other goalkeepers was his distribution. He can't have that over Aaron Ramsdale. Gareth Southgate can't be blind to that, because he will be pushing Pickford injuries aside, he'll be pushing Pickford very, very hard for that number 1 jersey for England. And you know what? If he gets it, he deserves it if he continues this form. But there's a bit more character and a bit more resilience with this side, and I don't think that's two words you could associate with
No.
an Arsenal side
A
in the
bit more
last
of a
2 years.
physical presence, Albert.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people in the group chat there mentioning the set piece coach, and rightly so. I think we have looked more dangerous from set pieces. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, you know what it is? You make the great point again, because last season, some of our deliveries from set pieces and corners was horrendous. I'm not surprised we didn't score any goals from set pieces, but the coach, the guy that's coming, I think he was at Man City before that, whatever, Arteta, he's obviously doing something right, because from set pieces we look dangerous. And if you look at our side with the likes of Tavares and Tomiyasu and Gabriel, 6'2", 6'3", we have a physical presence there. I love Tomiyasu, by the way. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, I do.
And you know what? With him, Mark, he will get us when he eventually does get his first goal for Arsenal. If you look at a lot of our attacks,
yeah, but the first goal, yesterday,
he's always in the box, in and around the area.
He's
so
making those runs, Albert, that they've got to pick up, and it's creating the space. That first goal yesterday, classic example. Tommy was massively involved in that. Massively.
Yeah, but you know what? Like I said, with the defense and like I said, there's a bit more, like you said, the physicality which we've lacked for a number of years, but we have that with this team. And you know what? Even if you just push fast forward through to the whole season, let this back five play consistently together and build the continuity. And you know what? For the longevity of it, they'll be the cornerstone of this team, mate.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I have to agree with most of what you've said there, if not all. We're going to move it along again, and we're going to come to you, Potsy. Albert touched on youth and how the senior players need to look after the youth. Bukayo Saka gets another assist, and he signed a new contract this summer, this calendar year, for 4 years. He's under contract till 2025. We've got to be sitting back down the table with him, and we're making sure he stays there till 2035, haven't we? But not just Saka. Let's let you go. Let's talk about Martinelli as well. Let's talk about youth.
Well, I can touch on both of them because I thought they were both superb on Saturday. I really did. And Saka's got a lot of criticism, and I think he's definitely had a Euros hangover. But for me, Martinelli, I've been crying out for him, haven't I, for a long time. And all I kept getting told by the manager and by the fan base was that he's just not ready. Well, I've not seen a player that is just not ready. Every time I saw him, I saw glimpses of absolute quality. And I didn't think it was fair, Mark, to keep bringing him on for 4 minutes every game. And I certainly didn't think it was fair to play him in a C team with Cedric El Neni and Nketiah against Leeds and Wimbledon. So, of course, he wasn't going to be absolutely superb in those games. But what I did see was him come on for half hour against Newcastle and be amazing. Won us the game with his second goal, and I thought he was exceptional. And then at Manchester United, everybody was crying out for him to shine. And I thought that he probably was one of the most positive players. It was a poor game, but he was running his absolute socks off. And that's all you can ask, is when the game isn't going your way, or if the result isn't going your way, keep going. And that's why I always had a lot of time for players that I never thought were ever going to be good enough for Arsenal, but used to give their all. Danny Welbeck, Alex Iwobi. I never slated them because I saw them giving 110%. It wasn't they're ever going to work for them. They were never good enough. With this kid, it's the complete opposite. You can see he's good enough, and he's giving so much. I love his tenacity. I love the mentality. I think he actually shows some leadership skills on the pitch as well. And what I mean by that is not by his communication, by the way that he sets an example of what I believe should be as part of this side. That to me is what these other players need to look up to, is somebody who was raw talent like Martinelli. The reason I gave him man of the match on Saturday was because he was the only one I saw running like that for 90 minutes, trying to make things happen. I saw against Everton that, everybody was pretty poor. But when I look at what he was doing, and in those games that we weren't particularly good, I was impressed still, because I've been so impressed with this player since the off. Under Unai Emery, he had 10 goals. So my question mark to the manager was, why are you not playing this guy? People were saying it's because he had an ACL and it takes time, but it doesn't take this long. He just wasn't rated by the manager as much. And he was forced yet again, like he was with Smith Rowe, to be playing this guy. And we're seeing why he deserves to be on the pitch now. When players come back like Smith Rowe and Saka and Ødegaard and Martinelli, when they're all fit and raring to go, Arteta's got a decision to make here, because I cannot see how Martinelli can be dropped. But it's going to be interesting, because the last time I saw a player doing well and scoring all of our goals was Pepe. And he hasn't done very well in the last few games because he hasn't been playing. So what I don't want to see is Mikel Arteta choosing Martinelli is the player to be dropped because I think he's been exceptional. I really do.
Nice. I know you wanted to get that off your chest. You're a big Martinelli fan. I know
Well,
that.
you know,
You've been crying out for
you
his
know
opportunity.
I
know.
have been.
Top man.
I have been.
Yeah, well, and let's face it. You know, he's coming. He's done what's asked of him. He's unlucky not to get a goal when he hit the post. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's a raw talent, and I think if he can just hone it, he's hungry. You know, that's what we're asking of the team, isn't it? Lee, I'm going to come back to you. I've got a random one for you. I don't know if you want to get on board on this, or you can just talk about whatever you want to. But you know, Bojo scared the living daylights out of us last Sunday night. Come out, wanted to do, a conference, what have you, and that wasn't what scared us. It was the state of the man. And I can't believe, is there not a mirror in number 10? Like, how are you going on national telly looking like that? I mean, it's just diabolical, isn't it? But anyway, he calls this news conference, doesn't bother brushing his hair, and he's talking about COVID, yeah, and it's getting a bit much, isn't it? You know, Man United shut their training grounds.
Yeah.
We've really heightened our restrictions around our training ground, a couple of reported cases. What I want to do is light a little touch paper underneath for you, Lee, and talk about the Spurs game getting called off and what your thoughts are about it, considering
I've got a problem with them calling off the Spurs game. I haven't got a problem. You know, they've probably got more cases than us. But what is the problem is Leicester have had a few cases and they've carried on playing. Arsenal, obviously, we know had cases and still carry on playing. Now, Man United are trying to pull out of a game, like, don't know how many cases they've got. But the big thing for me, and it's not going to happen, is that if it was the League Cup game, because if you remember a couple of last season, the mighty Tottenham Hotspur were going to play Orient. Orient had COVID, and they was forced to withdraw from the competition. So if Tottenham do not fulfil that fixture against West Ham, they have got to forfeit that competition. Now, I don't care what anybody says. You know, that is the rules because they've set a precedent. Now, they've set a precedent by making Arsenal play, I think, with probably 4 or 5 players out. You know what I mean? So I expect Man United have been very, very clever in what they've done. They've shut down their training ground today. Well, if you work it out, none of them should be there, should they? Because they should be travelling down to London now. So they wouldn't be training at the complex tomorrow anyway. But they've, we shut it down, so it means we can't train. Well, you wouldn't be there anyway. You know what I mean? So this is the trouble with COVID. If it's real, and it is real because, there are cases, and we know. Then, if you've got the test results coming in and everything to back it up, then that's it. You've got to do that. But
how are you feeling as a fan, Lee? In the ground, obviously, this face mask thing is coming in now, isn't it? So West Ham game.
Listen, it's a load of old crap about the face masks and all that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, like, I went on a train the other day and I thought. I sat there and it was packed and half have got masks, half haven't, like, you know what I mean? Designer masks, hospital masks, you know what I mean? Zorro masks, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Voldemort masks.
Yeah, Voldemort, he's got one. You know what I mean? Like, Batman's got a mask. You know what I mean? Like, what's his name? Kerry, what's his name with the mask? Oh, that was a mask, wasn't it? Like, you know what I mean?
Jim Carrey, wasn't it? You talking about
Kerry, the mask. You know
it's gone off on a right tangent here, isn't it? Christ.
Well, like, you know what I mean? Masks don't work. What I think's liberty.
Get the boost. It's like watching Bojo again, isn't it? Get your boost up. Get a boost up. Wear your Jim Carrey mask.
What is a liberty, though, right? I've got an email from Arsenal saying I've got to wear a mask over my eyes on Wednesday. Like, that's how bad the football is. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? So,
how are you going to eat a prawn sandwich through a mask? That's what I want to know up there.
Well, that's the thing. That is the thing about it, right? You know what I mean? Maybe I shouldn't say this, but
he's going to anyway.
I've actually got hospitality on.
There you
sitting next to Granit Xhaka again
on Wednesday with the meal and a few drinks and all that. Right? So when you're drinking and eating, you can take the mask off. But if you want to go to the toilet, you got to put the mask back on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous. But rules are rules.
Yeah, and the rules are rules.
And
you're a stickler for them, Lee.
You know what I mean? Listen. I'll tell you, I've got to tell this story. Like, I was in a dry cleaners yesterday. This is where it's ridiculous. This bloke comes in, right, for his cleaning. He's got his mask on and his glasses on. He can't see fuck on because they're all steamed up.
Steamed up, yeah. I have the same thing.
Take your glasses off. Don't take your mask off, but take your glasses off. Like.
Yeah. I'm either a COVID risk or a health and safety risk, depending on what I take off.
So I said, he give me a 50. I said, it's only a fiver, mate. So give me another couple. I said, you know what I mean? We're gonna move on if that's all right with you, Gov. I mean, it's your show. Listen, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's the last time it's happening because you've wasted ages. Let's talk. We like to involve some away fans on this show, don't we, Dan? We like to bring in opposition, and we're going to bring in a lad now from West Ham, and he's going to tell us all about everything related with West Ham. Here he is.
You massive.
Evening, chaps. Evening,
lad.
How we doing?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Pretty good. Frustrated from the game yesterday, but looking forward to Wednesday.
League table still looking good though, Dan. You can't complain, mate.
Listen, mate, top 4 in December. They always say it's once you get to December, where all the teams are, that's kind of where you're going to be. You get an idea of where you're going to be for the come end of the season. So we're not doing too bad, mate, at all. So very happy hammer at the moment.
Yeah, I'll bet you
Good stuff, man. Good stuff, man. Let's talk about, we like to involve you guys and get your opinion, and you don't have to hold back, man. You can tell us honestly what you're thinking at the minute about Arsenal, where they're at, how you feel about playing us at this moment in time, and your quick little thoughts on Arteta, in or out, and whether we're any good or not. And as I say, don't hold back. You won't offend us. Tell us the truth.
Do you know what? It's a weird one because no matter where Arsenal are, you guys could be down there scrapping for relegation or whatever, and we could be flying up there top of the table. I'd always be worried about playing Arsenal because I've seen it time and time again. Whenever we come to, especially your ground, we could be amazing that game. We could batter you all round the pitch. Don't matter. Come with a full-time whistle. Somehow, some way, Arsenal have won that game. And or at least
we don't lose many against you, do we? That's the thing. I just looked today.
Yeah, that last one, the 3-3, mate. I tell you,
that was nuts.
Took me a week to get over that. I was fuming. I was absolutely fuming. But I mean, in terms of where Arsenal are, I mean, look, I've said this to Dan. I don't rate Arteta. I've never rated him. I don't think he's the man to take Arsenal forward. He could progress into being a good manager eventually, but he's not the manager that Arsenal need right now to get you back to where you want to be, to really progress the club, because you want to be back there in the Champions League spots and then ultimately challenging. That's why Wenger had to go. That's why Emery had to go ultimately, wasn't it? And at the same time, how long can you keep giving a manager that doesn't seem to be achieving that? Because I
did hear that Edu's sniffing around David Moyes. I think.
Listen, I don't think he'd downgrade.
Cracked me up the other day when somebody on the radio, I can't remember now, they said that the Man United job was up for grabs, what have you, and everyone started saying if David Moyes hadn't have already managed Man United, he would 100% be in the frame to get the job, wouldn't he?
Yeah, probably wouldn't it if they hadn't already been there. I mean, he's been doing a brilliant job, And
tell us about his job. Tell us about where you think West Ham are at the minute you form. I know you've lost your centre half, and it's affected you a little bit.
Two centre halves, Zuma and Ogbonna. Two.
Yeah, Zuma now as well. Yeah, he's been massive for you, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been an absolute brilliant signing. He's been the upgrade we needed there back here with Ogbonna. So it looks like he's 6 weeks out and Ogbonna's out for the season. So big blow. We're just trying to get to January. But Moyes, look, he's come in and he's come back and proved a lot of fans wrong, including myself. He kept us up the first time around, but I weren't really a fan of the football we were playing and how we went about things. I was sort of happy to see the back of him, to be honest. And obviously Pellegrini came and he looked like he'd done all right, but a few signings he made was just dodgy. That Roberto keeper, worst keeper I've ever seen in my life. Ultimately,
worse than Adrian.
Listen, Adrian's bloody, Manuel Neuer compared to him. Like, I'm telling you, he was terrible. Cost Pellegrini his job. And Moyes comes back in, and I'm like, oh, all right, look, let's just see what happens. I'm not excited about it, and I was a bit outraged because it's like we're going back to this manager. You didn't think this manager was good enough the first time around. Now we're in this position. You're going back to the guy you didn't think was good enough, and
inspired though, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think that they had some sort of grand plan. I think they were desperate, and they just that he was the option, and it's worked out because he's come back and went, do you know what? You need me now. I'm gonna do things how I want. I'm taking control. Transfers, all of that. Sullivan, you get out of it.
Yeah.
I'm taking control of how this club's run, and it's worked wonders. Backroom stuff, everything. Like, you can't fault it. All the signings have been spot on. He ain't made any dud signings. I mean, this guy signed, I don't know if you ever remember Jordan Hugill. First time around with us, he signed this guy for 10 million. Hardly scored any goals in the Championship or League One. 10 million. I think his brother was his agent. And he was one of the worst strikers I've ever seen. And I was worried about him taking cold transfers. And now, look, Soufal, Soucek, Ben Rama.
Your recruitment has been class,
coming.
mate. Yeah. Absolute class. Even Dawson, I mean, like, I laughed for it, to be honest. I thought, what the hell's he doing? He's been class for you, isn't he? And
we all did, yeah.
He's been brilliant for you, mate. And I've got to ask you, Dan, just quick, sorry, Mark, just to come in, because I'm really interested. Like, looking at your squad and our squad at the moment, Dan, I know we've had a chat a little bit about it. Like, where do you see the dangers in Arsenal's side, like, it's on Wednesday night? Like, who worries you? Because I know last time we'd spoken over the last couple of seasons, Aubameyang all the time, but you know what's happening with him at the moment, and his form's out the window. So, who worries you in this Arsenal side as a West Ham fan, mate?
Yeah, I mean, Saka obviously is, a player. You impressed at the Euros, and he's someone who's looked really good for you guys. He's still, I think, got room to develop and to grow. And to find that real consistency, but he can really, I think, someone that can pose a threat. Odegaard is in very good form at the moment. I think he's got 3 and 3. So at the moment, he's got to be feeling confident. So that's definitely someone I'm looking at. Odegaard right now is the main one, and I don't think Smith Rowe started against Southampton, did he? So I don't know where his place is in the team, but he's someone who can make something happen for sure. So it seems to be like the sort of the younger players that are stepping it up for Arsenal rather than the more senior players. But Tierney, another one, actually, Tierney, I think is quality. He's some of his delivery, I think, can really cause some problems at the back. So those are the main players. But I think Ramsdale is going to cause us a lot of frustration on that.
What about you, Dan? What about you, Dan, for talking about the West Ham side? What's their sort of threats and what are you worried about?
Well, I'm always worried about this fixture. Like Dan says, it's interesting. I always worry about Arsenal. I was worried about this side because I do think we've had some bad results. Normally at their place, to be honest with you, but it has been difficult at times, and I'm worried about this fixture because of the way that they're playing this season. And West Ham just seem different to me this season and last season somehow. It just seems there's a good team spirit. I think the recruitment's been superb. I think Soufal and Soucek have been revelations. I've been really impressed with Jared Bowen as a player. I really like. I like his mentality. I think he's a never say die player. He's running and he never stops giving his all. And Antonio is an absolute monster. So I think they've got some really good players that can hurt us. But I think everybody has had a Euros hangover by one player, and that's Declan Rice. I don't know any other England player that's been doing well this season. I actually think Declan Rice has looked better than he ever has. I just look at that player now and I think, what an absolute monster. I had doubts when I first see him on the scene, and he was a centre-half, and I remember him doing an absolute howler at the Emirates once, and then he moved into defensive midfielder, and I thought, I just don't get this guy. What is the hype? I don't see how great this guy is. And my God, he looks absolutely superb. I mean, if West Ham were to sell him now, they'd be getting a hell of a lot of money. And I don't know what Dan thinks in terms of him staying and if he's long term or if he's going to go Chelsea or United or whatever. But I don't think he cares at the moment because he's been absolutely superb for West Ham. So they've got great players. If you said to me now, who do you want? There's about 4 or 5 there that I would have. I think Arsenal's squad is better and I think our first 11 is better. But there's certainly 4 or 5 players that I'd have from West Ham, 100%. So they've got some great players.
Well, good stuff. Lee, let's just jump to you and talk about, any favourite moments, memorable moments, Arsenal, West Ham, Arsenal, favourite goal. What stands out to you, man?
God, blimey, like, you know. Listen, I'll tell you what, we've had a good record against West Ham. And even the last couple of games, I think they should have probably beaten us, you know what I mean? But they just haven't took their chances. So, best goal against West Ham, that's a tough one, like, you know. Do you know what? I've always, you know, I can't remember off the top of my head, you know what I mean? Like, but always enjoy going to Upton Park. It's just one of the most special places to go to, atmosphere-wise, everything like that. It was like...
You'll have him in tears, Lee. It's not there anymore. You know that, don't you?
It was a proper crowd. They get on here.
It's all about rubbing it in. Like, it's come on the show.
Listen, we can talk
be
about Ivory as well. We can talk about
Oh,
Ivory.
God, no, don't. We'll all
be
be
in
crying.
tears.
It's supposed to be festive. We're supposed to be happy.
But no, I did like Upton Park. West Ham. So let's just talk about West Ham from my point of view. I watched West Ham, and you can see what a well-run, organised coaching team they are. I don't think they, you know, I don't mean this no disrespect. They haven't really got like that many superstar players that you would think that, but they're a team, an absolute team that know exactly what they're doing, how it's going. No egos, players fitting in like Dawson, as you say, coming in. You know, they're a very, very good outfit. And what I like about them is that, and David Moyes, is that he'll look at the opposition and find weaknesses in that opposition and exploit it. You know, this is a team that done, you know, beaten Chelsea, beaten Liverpool. But ultimately, against the teams that sit back a little bit, they struggle a little bit, like, you know, like Burnley yesterday, Brentford and all that, like, you know. So it'd be interesting how Arsenal approach the game, because I think, like, if they go toe to toe with them, I think like West Ham are going to cause us lots of problems. So I think it's going to be a good game. The one thing I would say I don't know about it really is that, you know, I've got my mate West Ham Paul who's saying it, like, you know, they may be starting to get a little bit tired. Just a little bit of time is creeping in, maybe catching up. And that's what we both fear, me and Paul, because I will definitely be a West Ham fan come next Wednesday after this game is the Tottenham game. They've been fantastic. Now, they've beaten Man United away, they've beaten Man City. Now they've got Tottenham away. And I don't know if it's just going to be one or two games too many for them. But I think if they can get into January, in and around where they are now, bring in a couple of players, West Ham will be there to the end.
Lingard.
What are you saying to that, Dan Lawless? What are you saying in response to that? Lee Judge is accusing West Ham of being tired.
No, I mean, I think Lee's assessment was pretty much on the spot on, like what you said about.
Done well. They've got a small squad.
Not my bag. Go on, Kevin.
They got a small squad. Is you know what I mean? That's.
It's funny though, because Moyes in interviews come out and he said he likes to have a small squad. I don't know
whether
he said that a few times. He likes to have a small squad, but yeah, I mean, there's times where I think it's certain players. I don't think the whole team are looking tired. Like Antonio, to me, is looking a bit tired. I mean, he's our only striker, so we ain't been able to rotate him. He's playing 90 minutes, like near enough at every game. That's where the tiredness is. I mean, against Burnley, I saw us having a lot of energy. We were just going at him. But, you know, as Lee said, struggled to break him down. We should have got a penalty, but at the same time, we should have took our chances.
Oh, yeah. Stonewall penalty, wasn't it? VAR had a nightmare for the weekend, by the way, didn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
but this is the thing, compared to them ones, Liverpool and City, how were those given? I said that was Salah, that's given.
Let's not go into VAR. We ain't got Albert, what are you saying? West Ham, bro, coming up. What are you expecting from the game? Got any memorable moments from the fixture? Anything to put the Dan Lawless? Fire away, bro.
Yeah, the memory for me was, I'm sure it was Boxing Day 2013, because Zola scored a beauty at Upton Park. I think we won 3-1 that game.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We won the game.
Yeah, we were.
That was the one. Was that 20? It was the one where Alex Song wrongly had a goal ruled out for offside.
That's right.
From outside.
2012, I think it was. Or something like that.
2012 or 24, yeah.
So he has this shot from outside the box, and they rule it out offside because of someone was interfering with play, and it was ridiculous. Like, because I think that was our chance to go 2-0 up. I think we go 2-0 up if that stage. That game it ruined my.
That's right. Yeah, because he was playing for West Ham then, wasn't he? You're right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Henri's goal was a good goal, by the way. Just come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I put in the chat. Yeah, Henri,
Andy Carroll's hat
2002.
trick. Our last game against you at Upton Park.
Yeah.
Oh, that was nuts. That was.
Thanks for reminding us.
We up, weren't we?
Yeah. I think you were 2-0 up, then we were 3-2, then you got an equaliser. Yeah.
Show me squad.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about the game, Albert? Are you going to be? What are you expecting the lineup?
Just quickly, what Gaffer mentioned earlier. I think the last couple of years you played us at the Emirates, I think we've been very lucky to win those games. To be honest with you, it's just that you didn't take your chances. That was the only issue. And I think Antonio's on a bit of a goal drought at the moment. It's easy. He ain't scored in.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. We like to give presents at Christmas.
Why did you mention it, Albert? Why have you mentioned it? Oh, that's it. I'm having a tenner. Antonio first goal.
It's been like 9 or 10.
But Dan, Dan Lawless, the funny thing is, when I watched West Ham play this season, for example, I expected Arsenal to play like that this season in terms of the football. But you've been exceptional. I think I don't know how you felt about Moyes the first time round and obviously the second time round, but yeah, West Ham have been fantastic this season. But I think the difference is you've got a focal point in terms of having Antonio. We don't particularly have a striker in terms of giving us a physical element up front, but it's going to be tight on Wednesday. I think we might just sneak it, Mark. Mikel Arteta, in terms of changes for the team, last season we didn't have a clue what he was doing week in, week out, but this season it's a bit more. There's a lot more continuity of Arsenal, so you know who's going to kind of start more or less 9 or 10 players. But I don't think there'll be many changes. But as Dan mentioned, Potsy mentioned earlier, the one good thing I would say is, although I know we haven't got European football, Arteta's got some good headaches in terms of team selection. We've got some options there. So, listen, it's going to be a tight game against West Ham, but you know what? It'll probably end up being 0-0.
Let's do a little bounce. Let's do a little bounce quick. Let's have a little round robin of Dan. Let's talk a little bit. Dan Potts, talk quick about the lineup. Give a score prediction, and then have a wager with Lawless about who you think is going to finish higher in the league.
Ooh.
So I think the team's going to be pretty much the same, Mark. I really do. Team news for Arsenal. I can't see him changing this winning side too much from Southampton. I don't believe Aubameyang will come back into the mix, and I don't believe that Smith Rowe will come and take the place of Martinelli or Saka. So I expect it to be very, very similar to what it was. Where do I think the score's going to go? Everyone's going to hate me. But I think we're going to I think we're going to lose 2-1. I think West Ham are going to nick it. I think they're the better side. I think they're playing better than us. And although yesterday's result was poor, Burnley can do that to teams. It's horrible going up there. We did well to get the 1-0 win against them and not get beaten up and bullied. And we only scored from a free kick. We didn't score from open play, so it can be quite difficult. So I fancy West Ham to be up for this game. I believe we can get at them because their defence is out, but I do believe that they're going to cause us some problems. And I think they're going to nick it 2-1, unfortunately. As for who's going to finish higher, me and Dan speak a lot, and he knows my thoughts on what's happening with this Arsenal side. So I think West Ham will finish above us, and I fancy Man United to sneak top 4 because I think they've sorted their manager out. Although I look at the way they're playing and it still isn't grand. I think West Ham may downfall just for the pure fact that the competitions may get a bit too much for their squad, and I think that they'll come 5th. But I don't see Arsenal coming 4th, so I think West Ham will finish above us. And that's why you've come to me first, so that everyone else can finish off being a little bit more optimistic than me, man, because I'm not feeling
Well, I don't want to end on that, do we? Let's have it
exactly.
Right.
people saying, doom and gloom. I can only go with what I think's going to happen. I can't lie. I hope we win 4-0,
to be fair,
of course.
Albert wasn't full of optimism. He's pulled out a 0-0. So, Lee, what are you saying? What team?
It won't be 0-0.
Listen,
well, he's got 0-0 and Antonio to score, hasn't he?
yeah.
Albert, I'm not following your betting advice.
It won't be 0-0. It definitely be 0-0.
Listen, I predicted a real difficult and a real boring, really hard watching game on Saturday, and it turned out to be a very, very enjoyable game, and that was a good, solid performance, and I think a confidence boosting win that we needed. I think if we'd have gone 1-0 in that game, I wouldn't have. But like to go there and win it 3-0, I think that give us a little bit of confidence. I'm the only reason I'm going to go for Arsenal to win this 2-1 is home advantage. I do think the Emirates were a different animal to what we are away from home. I think we're a better side. We've been pretty good against the teams apart from Chelsea and Palace, and we've done all right. And I think like West Ham's coming now, and I think I still say this: West Ham have got some good players. I'm not underestimating West Ham by a long chalk, but I do think that it's a good time to play West Ham. I really do. Like, I just think that maybe just the fixtures are just starting to take their toll on them, like, you know.
So who finishes higher in the league, Lee?
At the moment, I think that West Ham. I wouldn't bet against West Ham, but again, I'm going to say it now. I don't know if Dan agrees with this. Like, you know, January a big thing for West Ham. If January comes along and they do bring in a couple of players and they're in and around it, I think West Ham have got a very, very good chance of getting top four. I think they're a well drilled machine. They know what they're doing, not to be taken lightly. So and Arsenal, if Arsenal are going to attack the top four and be in around, they've got to buy in January. At this moment in time, if it's now, I would say that West Ham would probably nick it because I think they've got a better manager.
Dan Lawless, let's let you finish up. You can have the final word on our podcast and say, you know, any what you think your team's going to be, what you think the score's going to be, and how many places above Arsenal do you think West Ham are going to finish the season?
Yeah, like, look, the team I think will be very similar to Burnley, you know, where you're going to see Fabianski, you're going to see Soufal, Dawson, Diop. I think Creswell might still be out, so it'll be Masuaku, which is defensively, he's better going forward than defending, so that could be where you can get some joy on that right-hand side. Could be Saka maybe, so that could be our little weak spot defensively. Then you're going to have Rice, Souček, of course, Bowen. We're going to have Fornals and Lanzini, I think. Ben Rama started, I think Fornals will be this one, and Antonio. And yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I'm going to go with my fellow Dan and say 2-1 West Ham. Part of me says draw. There's something pulling towards a draw, but there's another part of me that thinks like we've got a good record away from home this season. Yeah, I think we've got goals all around the side as well. Good on set pieces, which I think you guys are really good on set pieces as well. I've heard. So that's going to be an interesting one. In terms of the season, Lee, I think it's the bald connection. He's on my level. He's on my wavelength. He's listen. That's going to be the key decider for us, because look, we've got Europa League still. We're in the round of 16, so we have got these games to play. So we need to strengthen. Lingard is key. Someone in the chat earlier asked Lingard or Dele Alli. It's not even the topic of discussion.
Oh my god!
You know,
Lingard.
Aubameyang, you need a striker in January. Aubameyang, what you saying?
Do you know what?
Hazard, wasn't it? Hazard, I was hearing.
Hazard,
what's all that about?
They turned us down for Hazard. I still can't believe it. They turned that we even bid for Hazard. But yeah, Aubameyang, like I would have snatched your hand off like last season. But it just seems to be something there mentality wise that I think it would kind of mess up the dressing room. But yeah, we're looking at some really promising strikers. And if we get a centre back, we're looking at Nathan Ake. It's centre back, Lingard, and a striker. I think we finish above Arsenal. That's what we need to do. If the squad's like it is now, and we have to deal with these injuries, and then Europe, I think it might be a step too far. So, like Lee said, January's absolutely crucial in us finishing above Arsenal.
Good. Well, if anyone cares what I think we keep a clean sheet. I think we nick it 1-0. I think Saka will probably come up with the goods, either an assist or a set up for Laka or something. I think we could nick it 1-0. But I think Gabriel's too mobile and just as strong as Antonio, so he might be able to keep hold of him. But we see what happens. But I think we might be about done. We've hit the magic hour mark. Are we all good? Anybody want to add anything? All that remains for me then is Lee, boss. Sorry, go on.
So what fantastic job you've done. Well done.
No, behave. Do you know, there's a couple of bits of housekeeping to clear up on. Guna Russ, I'm not eating cheese. I'm eating flumps. It's Christmas. Are you mad? I'm not in the bathroom. Someone has asked that. That's not true. I am naked from the waist down, but I'm not in the bathroom. And Craig is all right. And that is good news. And we are back next week on the same old Arsenal channel, our home, if you like, our adopted home. We stop our travels around and we go back. So we'll be revolving as we used to and having some good bants. And then I think, Lawless, you'll be popping up on Judges TV doing previews with Potsy, bits and pieces, as always. And a pleasure having you on. Thanks very much. Good luck with the Christmas single. West Ham are massive. I hope you get to number one.
Listen, it's there. The B side up. The B side's beautiful as well. So you get that on the B side as well. You've got to check that.
Listen, if that's on the B side, I'm buying it.
Albert, pleasure to be on here, man, guys. Thanks for
Cheers, Dan.
Thanks for coming, Dan. Albert, thanks for coming. Dan, sorry, quickly, what you up to? Where can people follow you? Just pop that in there. Not that
West
they will,
Ham
because
Fan
you're a
TV.
West Ham fan. So
yeah, West Ham Fans TV on all platforms and at the Lawless if you want to follow me on Twitter personally.
yeah, always good content, worth a follow. Anyway, good football brain. Albert, what about you? What are you up to, Albert? What you got coming in the pipeline, and how can people follow you?
Cheers, mate. Thanks for great job, Mark. By the way, great job presenting, mate.
Oh, stop it! You'll have me blushing. I'm already burgundy from the heat. Don't make me go any further.
I'm already blushing, but you just can't tell, mate. Albert JT. We've got my own channel. I'm on another podcast tomorrow on someone else's channel. I think Guns and Yellow Ribbons, actually. But,
Fergus, say hello to Fergus for me. Trev.
So thanks for having me on, and great to be in the Steam company. Nice to meet Dan as well.
Cool, man. Potsy, bro, pleasure.
Pleasure as always, mate. Great job hosting. Look forward to next Monday, mate. And
I don't think you've got anything to worry about. I don't think you've got anything to worry about.
No, I enjoyed it, mate. It was nice. Do you know what? It was nice to have a little bit of time not hosting for this Wednesday night.
Yeah, so different, isn't it?
It was nice. It was nice, mate.
Yeah, well, you two, you three, four are always hosting, and I'm always sitting there eating, talking not a lot. So I thought, listen, it's the last time before we go back. Let's have a mix up. So glad you enjoyed it. What are you up to, Dan? Was it what's happening? Anything? People, I hear, is Lee going to talk about this new thing, or are you?
Well, either of us can, to be honest. But on Wednesday, we're going to be doing some fan cams outside the ground with a twist. Watch this space on Wednesday.
Something new.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for Dan. Thanks for coming on. Lee, Judges, Boss Man, name above the door. Au Capitan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
What do you reckon? Have I got a job?
You've got a job. You're in.
What? Eating cheese?
No. I'll tell you what. I've actually put on a private message to Dan. He ain't bad. There you are. That's what I put like. Yeah, I mean,
and that's a compliment. That's a compliment from Judges, Matt. Tell you
that.
What are you up to, Lee? Come on. Have you got anything to add to this news?
No. Just
super show.
We're just we go to Wednesday now. Like we've got a couple of big games coming up Wednesday. We've got the massive West Ham, and then we've got and we've got the Dirty Leeds United on Saturday, and then we've got the Cup quarter final on the Tuesday. So it's a busy 7 days for us. So it's going to be happening. Lots of chat, lots of talk, and let's hope it's a very, very good week.
Good. Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for coming on. So next week, 9 o'clock, same old Arsenal. Boys are all back together on the original platform, and that's it. Thanks for coming. See you later.
Nice one, boys.
See you later, lads.